Okay, welcome everybody to the IU Hoops halftime report. 28-24 Northwestern. After a really good start by Indiana, the Hoosiers went up 10-4, and I thought played with really good energy early on. A lot of enthusiasm. Juwan Morgan, especially, kind of showing enthusiasm for his teammates. Like the team just seemed to have some energy. But after the good start, things really started to get bogged down offensively. And the one stretch that I really just didn't understand. Indiana led 20-13 right before the under 8-minute timeout. And to me, I feel like, okay, this is a time, we've kind of had this lead. We've been nursing a 6, 7, 8-point lead the entire game. Let's put our foot on their throats. Let's really go for it. And I know that Archie likes to take Romeo and Juwan out to get them rest at before the under 8-minute timeout. I just don't quite understand why he takes them out at the same time and doesn't stagger their rest. So those 3 possessions, I think it was 3 possessions, we don't score. They come back in, we're completely out of offensive rhythm, and we didn't score for 5, 6, 7, however many possessions it was. And then Northwestern ends up taking the lead and really taking control of the game by the end of the half. Now, I'm not saying it would have totally changed things if you keep one of them in there, and maybe part of it is Archie wants to spend a few possessions, where other guys don't have to defer to Juwan and Romeo. But that seems silly. Have one of them on the court, run some different sets, do something else. But I just didn't understand that. And that was the point in the game when it really started to turn for Indiana. So I'd love it if someone would ask that in the post-game press conference, why Archie likes to take them out at the same time. Juwan Morgan, I think, has really overall done a nice job. He hasn't picked up any fouls. How many points does Pardon have? It can't be a ton. He's gotten a few buckets. He's got 8 points, 4 of 6, 3 boards. So he's had a nice start to the game. But Juwan, I think, doing a really nice job on the glass. I thought the play that he had there at the end, where he got the offensive rebound and got fouled, it would be a 28-22 game, and we wouldn't have had anything going for a while. So I thought that was a really important play for him to make. And he's, playing a little bit more like a leader tonight, which I don't feel like we've seen as much the last couple of games from him. But we've got to get more out of Romeo on the offensive end. I thought he was really aggressive early. He had that great and one. He hasn't scored since. And in fact, he took, one shot in the last 16 minutes of the half. Northwestern really bodying him up, really denying him the ball, doing what a lot of other teams are doing to us. And, something else that we have to talk about, I think, is shot selection. And a lot of times when we talk about shot selection, we talk about shots that guys take that they shouldn't take. You see a guy pull up for an early 3, and it's like, man, this team really struggling with shot selection. Well, I feel like we're struggling with shot selection on the opposite side of it, which is that a lot of times we pass up really good looks, and I guess the hope is we'll get a better one, but the good look doesn't materialize. I don't remember who it was, but you remember the play where Rob Finney kind of had to do the pump fake and, just kind of launch a shot up at the end of the shot clock. I think it might have been McRoberts and maybe Al Durham that passed up better looks than what Rob got. And at some point we've got to take those shots. How many threes did we take in the first half? We took 9 threes in the first half. We're 1 of 9 from three-point range. Finney made that one early. We haven't made any since then. And I get it. Archie doesn't think that we're going to be a volume three-point shooting team, and I don't think we're going to be either. But I do think that there were some opportunities to take some better shots, because at the end of the day, if that shot that you take is the best one that you can get, if you're not going to get another one with working your offense for the next 10 seconds, then it doesn't make any sense to pass it up. And right now, Indiana's offense isn't moving enough. There's not enough creativity in it to where you're getting, to where you can count on getting another good look. If you get it, and I think those guys need to be ready to shoot it. Justin Smith, I think, has come out and been properly aggressive offensively. He's taken a couple shots. He bricked them, but he had that nice drive. So that's been nice to see. But Zach needs to shoot it. Al Durham, I think, has really done a nice job of being aggressive. I even think there are a couple of opportunities for him to take some more shots. So, everything right now offensively is revolving around Juwan Morgan. A lot of stuff with him, up at the top of the key, and, they're doing the handoffs and doing some different things. And it's fine, but Northwestern knows what's coming. And so, I thought one of the things that we saw early was Rob Finney really doing a nice job of kind of penetrating and probing. He had a layup that he missed. He doesn't have any assists, But I thought he was kind of getting us into some things early. I'd like to see a little bit more of that from him. I don't know right now what exactly the answer is offensively, except that I think guys need to take more shots when they're open to create some of that spacing. And I just think maybe we need to get guys the ball in some different places on the court. And maybe we can't do that because we haven't had a lot of practice time and there's not a lot of chemistry and Archie doesn't have confidence. But, now some of these guys who are out there playing, they've been playing together for a while now. So you would think that it would be a little bit further along than it is. So obviously an offensive concern. It's going to have to get better if we're going to win this game in the second half. Defensively, I think we've done a mostly good job. Northwestern scoring 0.9 points per possession. They're 4 of 13 from downtown. Falzone has knocked down 3 of them. I mean, I don't really know what to say about that. You don't really come into the game, keying on him in the scouting report. I think Indiana's given up some decent looks from 3, so 4 of 13. You're probably overall happy with that, even though it's been one guy making them. Some of their good shooters have missed some good looks too. But we're doing a nice job on the defensive glass. Northwestern, not a team that rebounds a lot, but they only have 2 rebounds. We've made a concerted effort there, and that's good. So we need to do the same things we've been doing on offense. If we hold Northwestern to 56 points, if they score 28 again, look, if you're not going to score 60 points, you're just not going to win. And Indiana hasn't reached 60 points in the last 2 games. So, offensively, we got to get things going. I think defensively, a couple of breakdowns in transition. But overall, I've been pretty happy with the defense, except only 3 turnovers. And I do think we're still a little bit lax in terms of applying ball pressure. We're still allowing guys to drive by us a little bit, Romeo especially on a few of those drives. So I'd like to see us pick that up a little bit, maybe as we get into the second half. I don't know if guys are trying to save themselves defensively or kind of, what's going on there, knowing they're going to have to play a lot of minutes. But I would like to see a little bit more of that because when this team was having its best performances early in the season, we were forcing turnovers, and we've really kind of gotten away from doing that. And I get you got to worry about some foul trouble and some of those things, especially with your guards, because you don't have a lot of depth. So I kind of get some of that. But I also think it's a really important part of what we do defensively. And if we're not forcing turnovers, like at some point, there are complications in our defense where it's going to break down every now and then with a lot of young guys and us still being in the second year of this system. So you have to get some turnovers, I feel like, to help compensate for that. And we're not getting some of those right now. So, look, I thought it was a good start. There were some things to like. The offensive drought toward the end, not good. We've got to figure out some ways. I would like to see more creativity offensively. But we're right there, need to come out and have a strong start in the second half. That has not been happening after it really being something that we were good at early on. Got to have a strong start to the second half here. Let's make this a 40-minute game and hope that we can out-execute them again just as we did back when we were at home because we got to have this one. So I really want to see the guys play with a desperation these last 20 minutes because that's what we need. We got to have that desperation because we need this win. All right, thanks everybody for joining me here for the Halftime Report. Always great to have you. I see such a great chat in the chat mob going on. Sometimes I feel like I'm just here as background noise so that you guys can all chat amongst yourselves in the chat mob, and I'm totally fine with that. That's why we're here. We just lead the conversation. We don't dominate it. All right, everybody. Join me, Ryan, Andy on the postgame show. Hopefully it's a victorious episode, and I'll talk to you then.